Welcome here on the Lindenwood Sports Network. My name is Dominic Hoscher, and joining us today is the director of Lindenwood's track and field and cross country teams, David Nicholson. David, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
Big week for you guys. The OVC Championship. We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, December 7th was the start of your season. Now you're at this point of the year. Just describe the season so far to this point.
So yeah, we opened up in December 7th, and now we're at championship time. It's been a good year. We've had some great performances from our team across the board. Our men, women, our throws, and our jumps. We're in pretty good standing. We have some kids who are in scoring position and all-conference position going into the weekend. So the regular season's been solid. I think every week we've improved and gotten better, and now hopefully we're ready for the championship.
You mentioned your team getting better week by week. Since that December 7th meet in Bloomington, Illinois, what kind of growth have you seen from your team, whether it's a sprinter side or any other side as well?
So I'll start with our men's and women's pole vault, namely Austin Blakesley and Nicole Barton, who have steadily kind of increased their position in the conference, as well as Amanda Parker. And then we've had two young guys who have qualified for conferences this past weekend when we were in Columbia at Mizzou. Alex Hollingsworth and Kyle Stevenson. They worked hard all year and finally put it together in the last couple meets and made the qualifying marks for conference championship. So that's a group with some great leadership that's been doing some fantastic things for the team and have progressed over the course of the year. As well as our throwers. I mean, we have Logan Kalinsky and Emily Montgomery, a freshman, Aaliyah Farmer, who are all in position to do well at the conference championships and have qualified in their respective events, either the weight throw or the shot put. Halo Cannon-Geyser, who is a newbie for us, she as well as qualified in the weight throw. So we're looking forward and seeing that those kids have really opened up, and indoors is always a little bit difficult, right? We go from training outside to the winter season and then being kind of inside, not as much space, and being kind of split across campus, getting some training in. So they've kind of showed a steady growth of being able to come in with some solid heads on their shoulders and being able to produce and be consistent throughout the course of the year, and then again putting it together and getting some marks down and really being able to put themselves in a position to score this weekend.
You mentioned Aaliyah Farmer, one of the freshmen on the team, as well as many others. How difficult is it for a first-year runner or participate in any other event to come in their first year and already make an impact and get into the team and get into these events and also place well in meets?
Oh, it's difficult. We have a much different structure, especially for the freshmen, moving from high school to the collegiate atmosphere. So Aaliyah has done a fantastic job of making sure that she was ready when she came in this fall, right, and then worked through that portion of the preseason. And then now we don't compete as much, right? We only compete on the weekends once a week, if that. So for some consecutive weekends since we got back in January. And with the limited opportunities to compete and going to higher invitationals and not always having a guaranteed finals, which is another 3 throws for someone like Aaliyah, she's done really well. I mean, it takes a lot of strength at the course of the year to just kind of stay the course, right? It is a regular grind for a lot of our freshmen and for the entire team to, you're only running or throwing or jumping, 4 or 5 times a year for our winter season, right? So the course of those weeks adds up, and really just being steady, right? It's just going to work every day, trying to knock out your lifts, knock out your throwing or your sprint workouts or your distance runs, right? And being consistent, which is the name of the game, right? We want to be as healthy and consistent as possible throughout the course of the year so that we're able to perform late in the year. And Aaliyah has really adopted to that pretty quickly, and it shows with where she's at in their standings for conference.
With meets every weekend, like you said, just kind of like detail every week for your team, like from Monday up to the point where you guys go off on your meet, whether it's at home or not at home, it's going to be on the road. So just like describe the week and process for you guys in terms of practice and everything else.
So Mondays, depending on if we've competed the previous weekend or not, whether it was a Friday, Saturday meet or just a Saturday meet, we come back on Mondays and we usually hit the sprints group anyways, hit some extensive tempos, some less intense volume work, right, to really wake the legs back up and get going again in our week. And then we follow that with a faster session on Tuesday, and then we recover on Wednesday. And then we pretty much go through a shorter session on Thursday, right, after our recovery day. And then pretty much we're just getting ready for the weekend again, right? And those days are filled with specific work. We'll talk about technically what are we trying to achieve that weekend, and then also game planning and how we're supposed to approach a lot of those events. The distance group is very similar. They might have a workout on a Tuesday or a Wednesday if they're trying to get one day in a week, or if they're trying to do two, maybe they're going Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. It just depends. I spend, again, on what day that they've raced or what kind of event they're leading up for the weekend. So we typically have our team meetings, the day before we leave to make sure that we are all on the same page. And because we have a lot of different event groups, we don't practice all at the same time, right? So we don't get to see each other like a normal team sport would when you're on the field for 2 hours at training and then you're traveling together. So we get together as a group once a week to make sure that we all touch base and we see each other, and then we're traveling. Like this weekend, we'll take off Friday afternoon for a Saturday, Sunday competition in Indianapolis. So we'll have our team meeting later this afternoon to make sure that we're all ready to go, an itinerary set.
So with that in Indianapolis, that's the GLVC championship for your team.
Yep.
How does preparation kind of differ for that? I know going to each meet, you kind of want to have that same mindset, but is it a little bit different now that it's the postseason and it's the highest competition around the conference too?
Well, it is. It's a little bit different, but we don't want it to be that different, right? We want to make sure that we're prepared every week during the season so that when we get to this point, right, they understand what they have to do for training each day and what that translates to on the weekend. So if we can walk into there with level heads and understanding that it's another race where we need to go execute the demands of our event, right? Well, no matter what they're doing, then it becomes a lot easier to perform, right? Good athletes are the ones that can go out, execute, and kind of keep their mind open to all the things that are happening within those moments, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that they don't feel the excess pressure of a conference championship. We want them to understand it and know it, but we've been prepared throughout the course of the year so that when we get to this point, we're ready to go.
All right. With the GLVC championship, can you kind of like detail the events of what's going to occur over the weekend in Indianapolis, like which runners are going to be participating and which ones, either on sprint or distance team you're looking forward to most?
So Saturday morning we'll start with the men's pole vault and the men's weight throw. So again, Austin, Kyle, and Alex will be vaulting in the morning or late morning, right, early afternoon, as well as Logan Kalinsky in the weight throw and our senior James Green. That they're going to start us off hopefully pretty well, right? That'll be a big kick to our championship, and then after that, we'll see some of the sprinters get on the track for some trial rounds of the 400 and the 200. We have an upperclassman in Sam Yarrow, who was an All-American last year at 800 meters running the 400, as well as Demaine Dixon. So we're looking for them to qualify for those finals as well. And then we have freshman Armani Modeste and Dorian Lita, who are also going to be running the 200 that day. And then on the ladies' side, we will have Rosette Hoyt, who's a freshman, running the 400 with Regina Huesca, who is a senior of ours. Bree Wright will be running the 60-meter hurdles. And we expect that everybody puts themselves in a pretty good position to make finals. We understand that the conference is very tough, but I think all of those members of the sprint squad should be able to handle that and be able to, transfer over into some finals on Sunday. On the distance side, the women's DMR, I believe, is ranked fourth, we're ranked fourth in the conference, and the men's DMR is ranked first. So Najwa Chawadi, who's been a great member of the team, and she's been all conference during cross country, having a really good year. Rachel Morrison, a freshman of ours, who's also qualified in the mile, and she'll be running that finals on Sunday, excuse me. They'll be two of our anchors for the DMR team, as well as Nadia Pulliam, who will be a sophomore this year and who's qualified in the 800. They don't have qualifying rounds on Saturday, though, so they'll just be running the DMR. And on the men's side, Benjamin Stasny will be helping out. He's a sophomore, great guy. He's qualified in the mile this weekend and the 800. And then we have Brady Mello, who's a freshman, who will be leading us off. Sam Yarrow will probably run the 800-meter leg, and then we'll probably have one of our freshman guys run the 400-meter leg. So that's Saturday. Those are all going to be really big events for us. We're not traveling like a 25-man roster each side. So we're bringing a quality handful who we expect to all be in scoring position. And then after that, Sunday, there's a lot of finals for those distance athletes to be able to run the mile or the 800. Austin Crow will be running the 3K on one day and the 5K on the next. And he's had an excellent season, setting new personal bests in those distance events and looking to score well for the team as well. And then after that, it comes down to the 4x4. So it'll be all the finals, those finals of the 800, the mile. Austin will run his 5K and then our 3K on Sunday, and then it'll be the 4x4s, which both teams were looking to be in the fast heats. The men are ranked second, where the women are ranked fifth. So hopefully the women are in the fast heat and can continue to score. And then the men, we're looking to hopefully upset and try to pull a W out on the 4x4 relay to end the meet. So that's hopefully how everything goes, but we'll see. Nothing ever goes to plan.
That's not wrong. With all those runners and everyone else participating over in the GLVC Championship, what do you want them to be able to gain from this weekend? No matter what place they finish, no matter what times they run, what do you hope they're able to take out from this weekend in Indianapolis?
Oh, confidence in themselves and their ability to go out there and put their best foot forward. I think that is that's going to be paramount into us continuing on into the outdoor season. Yeah, and just a sense of pride in their teammates and what we're going to be able to accomplish. You know, we have a great group of kids. I'm really fortunate to be able to work with them, and you know, going to a championship with some of your good friends and teammates, and being able to pull out some performances is always a great feeling. So just some confidence and camaraderie and some pride in being a Lion, that'd be huge for us to take from the weekend.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend in Indianapolis and with the rest of the season and outdoor season too. You guys have a long year. I mean, December 7th all the way to outdoor too. Very long year for the track kids, even longer year for the cross country kids who've been running since August. So yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. That was the director of track and field and cross country, David Nicholson. We're going to take a quick break and be back with you right here on the Lindenwood Sports Network.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Mom, I got it. What are you doing in there?
I got stuck.
Are you a dog?
I wouldn't do that. Have you seen the pliers? Where'd you find those?
It's not your birthday.
Sorry.
Bye, Grandpa.
Bye, Grandpa.
Take care of yourself.
What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
We're back here on the Lindenwood Sports Network, and now joining us, the head coach of the Lindenwood Gymnastics team, Coach Jen Lleweylln. Thank you for joining us, Jen. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Your season has been exciting so far as well. Started all the way back in the beginning of January, so up to this point, just describe how it's gone, every practice, every match, every meet. How's it gone?
It's going well. We've hit a lot of adversity throughout the whole year. We started our preseason back in September, so essentially we've been kind of full speed ahead since September, and our girls have been working really, really hard, and our season began in January. And we've had 8 meets up until this point, and every single week we've gotten better as a team. We've grown a ton as a team in our gymnastics and in our team identity, and it's very, very exciting because we've had a lot of new faces in all of our lineups this year, and our team is just starting to figure out exactly who we are, and we're just getting more and more prepared for postseason when that comes up soon.
So September is when the preseason started. So you had September all the way to December, and then before the beginning of January where your meets actually started. So how different, I mean, how difficult is that for your team? And do they kind of get bored with just practice after practice and get excited for January?
I think towards the end of the semester in the fall, it just gets a little bit mundane. We try to change it up all the time. We play a lot of games in the gym, and every single day we try to change up assignments so it keeps them involved and bought in and just always keeping it different there. But once December hits, they get very, very excited for season. So I know that they were really excited once January came and we were able to finally put into play what we've been practicing all semester.
But even once January came, you guys never had any competitions at home until February. So you started on the road multiple weeks. How difficult is that, or do you see a challenge in that?
I think what I enjoy most is having them start on the road because it's a challenge and it kind of gets them ready for to be at home and to be a little bit more comfortable at home. And because of the Division I teams that we do compete against with the SEC teams and a lot of those Big Five power conference schools, we have to go to them early on because they have their conference competitions. So it's a challenge for them, but it kind of gets them ready to go, and we kind of throw them into battle, and it's like learn as we go, and it makes them better prepared for the rest of season there.
You talked about the top D1 schools. I mean, you're competing against Ohio State, Kentucky, Missouri. Talk about that. Is it kind of cool for or does your team like kind of see it like that as playing a big school?
Yeah, I think when we go into those arenas, they see it as a big school. But at the end of the day, we always tell them, which is very true, we're doing the same gymnastics and we're all at the same level of skill. It's just how can you show it off and how can you sell your routines and working on those little details there. So I think they enjoy going into those big arenas because it's a huge arena, huge crowd, fan base, all of the lights, camera, all that fun stuff that's going on there. But when it comes down to it, they know that they're very comparable to those schools. We beat Mizzou last year at a neutral site, which was really fun. And we upset Iowa State last year. So coming into this year, they knew that they're capable of competing against them. And so it's just that mindset and that mentality of showing up and competing like they mean it.
Last couple of weeks, your team has performed exceptionally well. You've had multiple first-place finishes now in a row. So would you say your team's starting to really get into it now, starting to gel really well together?
Yeah, and like I said, we've dealt with a lot of adversity early on in the preseason and in the early part of the season, and so it's kind of like all hands on deck, and every girl is stepping up into whatever role they need to. And I think adversity is the best lesson and the best teacher, and when adversity hits, we always talk about how you respond is everything, and our team's been responding exceptionally well, and that's proving in their gymnastics that they're responding well, and their gymnastics is just taking care of themselves because they're trusting themselves and they're trusting each other, and their identity is starting to fall into place.
Still a couple more weeks until the conference championship takes place for your team. So over these next course of a couple of weeks, how do you hope to just build practice by practice, competition by competition, and going into that conference tournament in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, so these next few weeks we're really focusing on details and honing in on our landings and our celebrations and fine-combing those, just the form deductions there, so that'll make us more prepared for postseason. And like I said, we've dealt with a lot of adversity, so we're going to be prepared for whatever comes our way. And in gymnastics, you don't have a defense. So our defense is our mentality and the environment or the crowd. So we always try to focus on controlling the controllables. And so these next few weeks, we really want to focus on honing in on just owning what's in our control and taking care of our gymnastics. And then that'll prepare us best for conference and nationals.
So you brought up how there's a lot of cameras and atmospheres with those big schools. Does that kind of calm your team down when it comes to the conference tournament? Because then there's obviously high pressure, but you've already dealt with that high pressure at Ohio State and other schools like that. So do you feel kind of well accustomed to it already by the time that season comes?
Absolutely. And going into those big arenas, it is nice because it gets us prepared for literally anything that could possibly happen we've dealt with. And so when we go into conference, it's keeping your blinders on and staying in our four walls, and they're prepared and they're ready to go.
So out of the events, one of the more successful ones so far this season has been on the vault. Have you seen that as well, and what has led to that success on the vault for your team?
Yeah, absolutely. We have just more depth this year on vault, more higher level vaults, and then also more veteran players, I'd say, on that apparatus. So it's been nice to be able to actually have depth there. We've lacked depth on that event for the last couple of years, and we've had people step up, and then our freshmen coming in too have also contributed and played a big factor in that event.
Now for the others like bars and everything else, kind of talk about that too. Describe the competitors in that and just how it's gone for your season.
Yeah, so bars, the next event is probably our event with the least amount of depth, but we've had people that have had to step up, and they've really filled those roles well. And again, our depth has been tested, which has been wonderful to see our girls respond and just do whatever it takes to do what's best for the team there. But our bar lineup has finally found their groove and found their rhythm. So they're continuing to get better each week. And then beam and floor, we do have some depth there where we've been able to switch around some lineups and again find our best lineup that's going to produce the best score for the team at the end of the day. So it's been fun the last few weekends too to figure out who's going to go in beam and floor and figure out who's going to score the best there as well for the team.
So the inaugural season for gymnastics here at Lindenwood was 2013, right?
Correct.
And you were a part of that. So you've been a part of Lindenwood Gymnastics ever since the very beginning of it. So ever since those days in 2013 up to this point, what kind of growth have you seen in the Lindenwood Gymnastics program between the athletes and everything else involved?
Yeah, it's been a tremendous 8 years. We're in year 8 now. And each and every year we've always had a new goal and a new mindset coming in just to continue to better the legacy of the program and our culture. And it's been a lot of hard work and a lot of just grinding it out and working really, really hard. And every single year, every single team has found success. And it's been so rewarding to watch them work really hard and then reach that success. And last year was a huge pinnacle of the program of reaching NCAA regionals. And that was so fun, not just for that team, but for all of the teams that have come before it. And again, every year we try to always find like what's the next first thing that we could do. So even though we've been very successful, we're still trying to find the next first this year with Team 8. And every year they're just trying to continue to protect upon the legacy that each class has come before them. So they know how special this program is and how special this culture is and how tight-knit it is, and we're just always trying to protect that every year and build upon it.
So making one NCAA regional, like you said last year for your team, how does it kind of affect your team going forward? I mean, obviously, like you said, it kind of sets the bar high for your team in the next year and the years after that. Would you say it really has a large effect on your team, just making it just once in your program? Yeah, I think from the outside looking in, it makes a big difference because it helps with recruiting. It's helped with just making people take us more seriously as a program and a well-established program because we are the newest program in the NCAA. But internally, there's definitely that pressure to repeat and live up to those expectations. So that's something that we've been working on a lot this year as a team and talking about it and trying not to allow that internal pressure and that internal expectation affect us in a negative way. So we've seen it on both ways, but it's every single day we're learning how to navigate that. But also knowing that it's such an honor and a privilege to have been a part of that team last year to make it to that level because not many people have done that, especially with such a young team. All right, now for you, first, in terms of getting into gymnastics, what was really the pinnacle for you in terms of getting into the sport and now staying with it for so long? Well, I started gymnastics when I was 2, so it's all I've known from a very young age, yes. And then I did it through high school and went to college to do it, and I had phenomenal mentors and coaches in club and in college, and they were the reasons why I wanted to get into coaching and give back to the sport. And after college was done, I applied to be the GA here at Lindenwood, and kind of the rest is history. And I just love to be able to mentor young people and guide young people through the sport of gymnastics. Now, when you used to compete, was there a certain event that you preferred over the others, that you enjoyed over the others? And now as a coach, is there one you enjoy more than the others too? Yeah, bars was my favorite to compete. That was just my favorite to fly and swing aggressively, and it just was, I think, the easiest event for me and the most natural. And then coaching, I really like coaching beam because there's the mental side of it and because it's such a mental event.
where you are on 4 inches, 4 feet off the beam, and it's like you and the beam and everyone's watching around you. And I think it's such a beautiful event, but also 90% mental and 10% physical at the college level. So it's fun to be able to tap into that with each athlete.
How do you stay just calm and collective winning competitions like that? You talked about all the eyes watching, and if you're on an Olympic level, then there's even more. So how do you just stay calm under all that pressure?
A lot of practice. I think that's a big reason why our preseason is so long, because it is such a mental sport at that time, and we do a lot of visualization. We do a lot of scenarios in the gym where we prepare them for anything possible that could come their way in the gym, and we do like distraction routines where we're like yelling crazy things or being really loud and obnoxious. We do silent routines, all the different things that you could possibly think we do just to get them prepared so that once they come into competition, they've experienced everything in practice as much as possible, so they're mentally and physically prepared.
For viewers, a lot will every 4 years watch the Olympics, and Simone Biles, Gabby Douglas, and all of them every 4 years. Oh, and I know you're a big gymnastics fan too of the U.S. Olympic team. But for others that only watch the Olympics every 4 years, what should they know about gymnastics that they don't see in anything outside the Olympics and in the college level, high school level, and other levels as well?
Well, again, I'm a huge fan of the sport of gymnastics. And what's different about the Olympics versus college gymnastics is I feel like in gymnastics at the Olympic level, it's very similar to golf, where it's like you don't really clap, you don't yell, it's just very calm, and people are watching. And I think because of Simone's energy and her dynamic gymnastics, she's literally the GOAT of our sport and is going to be, I feel like, for decades to come. She's just incredible. But she's brought an enthusiasm to our sport where I feel like it's becoming, she's changing the sport of gymnastics as a whole. But when you see it at college, it's loud and it's exciting, and after every single routine for our home competitions and away competitions, our fans and our team, they say LU, LU, LU Lions, and we get excited no matter what, and it's a lot of yelling and cheering and celebrating, and so it's so fun, and you're starting to see it more and more on ESPN and the SEC network. So it's just an exciting sport, and a lot of people assume that gymnastics is quiet and you can't really cheer or get into it, but it's loud and rowdy just like football and basketball, so we want our fans to just really get into it just like our athletes do.
So it's safe to say you'll be watching a little bit of gymnastics over the summer?
Yes.
Okay, not surprised.
Recording it all. So.
All right. Coach, thank you for the time, and good luck with the rest of the season as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That was head coach Jen Lleweylln of Lindenwood Women's Gymnastics, and Dominic Hoscher here on the Lindenwood Sports Network.